we're going to solve this guy on the left, and anytime there's just one kind of x in your problem, like in this case it's an x squared, but there's no other x's in the problem, we can go ahead and use order of operations in reverse. And the basic idea is we're going to do the opposite stuff in the opposite order. So I like to always draw this little PEMDAS tower and start at the bottom. I like to imagine a big wall between the equal sign. And of course, my goal is to get this x to be all by itself on one side of the equal sign. And I start by looking on this side of the equation and asking myself, did they add or subtract anything? And then if the answer is yes, I'll do the opposite. So I can see they added 4, so I'll start by subtracting 4 from both sides. These will cancel out, leaving just a negative 7x squared on the left. And then of course these combine, and they are friends, they're both negative, they make negative 42. And I've taken care of that question. So then I move up the ladder, and I say, is there anything on this side of the equation, did they multiply or divide? That's the next thing that I want to take care of. And I can see they multiplied by negative 7. So I'll do the opposite. I'll divide by negative 7. These will go away, leaving me just an x squared. And that's going to equal whatever negative 42 divided by negative 7 is. I believe that is 6. Took care of that. So now I move up the ladder a little bit, and I see if there's any exponents, I need to get rid of those. And I know that the squaring is an exponent, and the opposite of squaring is square rooting. Just like addition has its subtraction, just like multiplication has division, squaring and square rooting are opposites of each other. And as the person solving the problem, I'm the one putting the square root in here. So that means that I've got to include a positive or negative square root of 6. Now, the next thing I need to check is 6 a perfect square? Is it on my list? Is there a number that I know of that I could easily multiply by itself and get 6? If that were the case, 6 would be on this list. It is not on that list. Not only is 6 not on this list, but none of the numbers that are on this list go into 6, other than 1. That's not helpful. Nothing goes into 6. So this is it. This is the best I can do. This is my final answer. X equals positive or negative square root of 6. If you want to write that down as 2 separate answers like this, go ahead, be my guest. I would take either one of these as fully correct. Now this next problem, it looks a lot more complicated, but believe it or not, I'm going to follow these exact same steps. I'm still going to do PEMDAS in reverse. Isn't that nice? It's dependable, it's reliable, we just got to think a little bit. And the other thing we got to do is we have to fight our instincts a little bit. Because you guys have been working with parentheses for a long time, and one of your instincts is, when you see parentheses and numbers on the outside, you want to distribute. Don't do that. That's not how we're going to do this. It's not going to work. It gives you wrong answers. So we are going to do PEMDAS in reverse. Of course, the P in PEMDAS stands for parentheses. This has parentheses. It's way at the top. It's the last thing I'm going to deal with. I got to go through all these other things first. So I've got to look first outside of the parentheses. And if there's anything outside those parentheses, I got to get rid of those things until everything's gone. And then I can deal with what's inside the parentheses. Okay, so I got to start down here and work my way up here. That's how I'm going to do this. So I'm going to say, here's my equal sign. Outside of the parentheses, is there anything that needs to be added or subtracted? Well, if I look at these parentheses and I look outside of them, I see a 2 over here that's being multiplied. This minus 2 is subtracted, but it's not outside the parentheses. There's nothing outside the parentheses to add or subtract. So that was a bust. I still had to think about it, but there was nothing to do. I move up a line, and I say, outside of those parentheses, is there anything that's being multiplied or divided? Right? So I can see these are my parentheses right here. Outside of them, I've got a 2 right here that's being multiplied. That's got to go. So of course, I use the opposite. The opposite of multiplying is dividing. So these cancel out, leaving on the left side, parentheses, x minus 2 squared. And then on the right side, I'm going to write down whatever 14 divided by 2 is. So that's equal to 7. Great, I took care of that. You see how I keep going back to PEMDAS? And until the parentheses are gone, the question is, outside the parentheses, is there this? Outside the parentheses, is there that? That's what you want to train your brain to do, so you can do it without thinking. I'm going to move up the ladder, and I'm going to wonder, outside of these parentheses, are there any exponents? Yes, there's a squared. And the opposite of squaring is square rooting. So the square and the square root cancel, leaving me x minus 2. I put the square root in there. Me, problem solver Paul, put the square root in there. I got to put a plus or minus on the root when I put the square root in there. 7 is not on my list. There are no numbers on my list that go into 7. That is as simple as that gets. There's nothing else to do. Parentheses are gone. Now that there's nothing outside the parentheses, I no longer need them, right? If the square's gone, if the 2's gone, what do I need parentheses for? So they're gone. But that puts me all the way back down here at the bottom. X is not by itself yet. So I'm looking at this side of the equation. Now the parentheses are gone. And I'm saying, is there anything to add or subtract? Of course, I'm going to add 2 to both sides. Now the last thing that might come as a surprise to you is this 2 and this radical 7 are not alike. The square root symbol means it's not like the 2, right? One has a square root symbol, one doesn't. They are not the same. They are different. I cannot actually combine them in any way. I can't go 2 and 7 make 9. So the best I can do now is say 2 plus or minus the square root of 7. That would be my final answer. Actually, it's 2 answers. So if you want to, you can write your answer like this. Or if this bothers you, you could write this down as x equals 2 plus root 7 or 2 minus root 7. Either is fine. I don't care how you write your answer, like this or like this. It makes no difference to me. But I hope that works. I hope I can really get you guys to understand when it's important to fight your instincts and deal with these parentheses. For all the problems on this standard, anytime there's just one kind of x, we are going to revert to PEMDAS in reverse. There are times in this chapter where we won't do that, but right now, that's what we're doing. If you have any questions, I'm in my office Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 3 to 3:30. If you ever pop in and it seems like I'm not there, shoot me a quick IM. I'm definitely on my computer. Sometimes I get a little involved in my work and I forget to check in, but that's no excuse. Just send me an IM and I will pop in and happily help you because it is my favorite part about this job, and that is the sincere comment. See you guys around. Be safe.